There we are,
Happy Sunday, everybody.
mid-pour.
Yes. Thanks for joining us at our new time, 7 o'clock.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers to that. We hope you all have had a wonderful Sunday.
Yeah,
How was the weather today?
it was chilly, but the sun was out, which after yesterday was nice enough, right? Because it was dreary and wet. It's been a wet week. We had all that rain. Whoa.
Let's go, girls.
Let's go.
Okay.
It's still Women's Month, so we're still continuing with the playlist.
Oh, that's right. It is because it's still March.
And which is why
Despite
we
what it
also
feels like.
have our special guest for this week, Hillary Kline. She will be on in a little bit, which we're really excited.
Yes, with the
about.
Adopt-A-Grandparent program. So yeah, we'll be talking to her about that, how that all works. Cool idea, very timely as well these days with everything that, everybody's lonely, but especially like you think of all the elderly people who have to really be isolated away from their family and their friends, as they're the most susceptible to COVID. But in Minnesota, 80% of them are vaccinated.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's 80% fully or 80% one shot, but Minnesota's leading the country, I think, right now, or we're like the top one or two states for vaccinations. So that's.
I can't wait to be vaccinated myself now that they think they're going to be vaccinating a lot quicker.
Yeah, and I'm one shot in. I get my next one next week, not this coming week, but the week after, because I got the Moderna one, and you have to do 4 weeks between. They said you can do it as early as 26 days after your first. I'm like, okay, I'm doing mine on the 26th day because I want to be done. And in case you missed it, I got to get it a little earlier than I otherwise would because I've been teaching. So
Yep.
I jumped at the opportunity for the vaccine.
All right, so who do we have on? We have Marion. Hello, Marion.
Mary, Kai,
cheers to
Kimberly.
Kai.
Kimberly, thank you for the stars. Paying for our black box wine this evening.
Yes, the more we're able to raise means the more cocktails we get to make. Because that does get spending.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I don't have all the ingredients, all the different liqueurs and all that really adds up. So
for sure.
But if you can't send stars, hitting the share button is the perfect way to give to us and get this message and our video out there.
Yeah, spread the word.
Totally. So who else do we have on? Sherry. Glenn and Sherry here from East Bethel. Thanks for joining us, Sherry and Glenn. We have Sherry Linderman. Hello, Sherry. So is Black Box Wine the beverage of the night? It is.
Yes. Part of it is simplicity, but also it is Passover, and most alcohols that come from a grain are forbidden.
Yep.
As well as any leavening agent or grains, basically. So no bread, no chametz, we say in Hebrew. So that means like most whiskeys are out. I think vodka counts because vodka, if it's vodka that's distilled from potatoes, you can still drink that.
Yeah.
And pretty much all wine.
Stacy, thanks for the stars. Anthony, thank you. Sharon, hello.
Joanne, hello. Kim.
Marion got to hug her grandkids yesterday. That's special.
Yeah, see how those.
How long has that been, Marion?
Yeah, was this your first time in the over a year? I mean, a lot of people were like seeing family through windows, or I guess during the summer you could have like outdoor, very distanced gatherings and air hugs, but it's not the same.
No, definitely not.
But especially when you're a parent or a grandparent and kids grow up so fast too. You miss a year and it's a lot.
Absolutely. Cheers to Nikki, Joanne. But yeah, I mean, especially with Easter.
Sherry, thank you, Sherry.
Especially with Easter.
Oh, two Sherrys. Sherry Linderman, Sherry Lundberg. Sherry Lundberg has been very generous supporting my weather broadcast too, sending stars and helping teach people who can't figure out how to send them, how to do it. Because it's all new to me too in the last week and a half. It's just a really cool way. If you don't know what I'm talking about, when I do my live weather hits through the week, you can send stars, which is equivalent to amount of money, like 99 stars is 99 cents. And helps compensate for the time and work that I put into my videos. And
Yeah, it's
some of
not,
them I have some sponsors with Bring Me the News and stuff, but a lot of it I just am doing on my own anyways. So,
yeah, it's very time consuming.
as you know,
Yeah.
I spend a whole morning doing that usually.
Right.
And Dine and Didi don't like to be neglected, so you're helping to compensate for that time. The most needy dogs ever.
But like you mentioned, it is Passover.
Yes.
We
Hag Sameach,
we had our
for
Seder,
those who celebrate.
we had our Seder last night. The two
Yeah.
of us.
And
well,
normally Passover
the
is
four
a
of us.
Passover, yeah, the girls. Normally Passover is a big family holiday, big get together, but most people obviously this is 2 Passovers in a row that that's not happening, at least if you're being responsible. So, yeah, it's a little different.
And for people who don't know much about Passover, what is Passover?
So if you've seen the Ten Commandments movie, which we watched last night,
Half of it, at least.
we're
Because
both
it's very
it.
long.
I mean, we've seen it before, of course, too. But yeah, that's basically the Passover story. Passover, the angel of death passed over the Hebrew slave's house because Pharaoh had ordered that the firstborn of every Hebrew slave should be killed because there was rumors that the Hebrews were going to have some deliverer of from their plight at some point. So he ordered that they be killed, and so Moses reversed that, and so. Uh, or God reversed it so that it ended up being on every Egyptian instead of the Hebrews.
Yeah.
Or they told them, okay, the secret is put lamb's blood on your doorpost and the angel of death will pass over. So the result was that Egyptian firstborns died.
How many of you have seen the original Ten Commandments movie?
Yeah.
For me, it's, we would watch it every year.
Oh yeah,
as a
it's an
kid.
annual thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Very nostalgic.
But yeah, it's all basically about the Exodus, the Hebrew slaves being freed, and that's literally when they became Jews, was during the Exodus. So once they got to Sinai and they're given the Ten Commandments, that's officially when the Hebrews became Jews and have this special covenant with God,
Yeah.
His chosen people, as it goes. And it doesn't mean that it's because they're the best people. Like some people, sometimes people in history thought that that's like an arrogant thing, and the actual Jewish tradition is like, no, God. The tradition is that God went to several groups of people to try to like make a covenant, and nobody wanted to do it, and the Jews said, okay, we'll do it. They're desperate and destitute enough, and yeah, and so that obviously spawned Christianity eventually as well. So they're kind of sister religions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were watching the Passover last night. I think it's been
Ten Commandments.
maybe 2 or 3 Ten Commandments last night. I think
We have our little family Haggadah.
2 or 3 years since we watched it last, but it's funny watching it now and just kind of paying attention to how melodramatic acting was back then.
Oh yeah, because it was the 60s, 50s, or 60s.
50s probably. Maybe
Yeah.
even earlier than that.
No, it's definitely not earlier than the 50s, but.
Show them our little.
Yeah, so,
Seder last
and
night.
for those that don't know, when you go through the Seder, you basically recount these stories that are kind of in the Ten Commandments and the different plagues that happened on Egypt, the locust, the disease, the killing of the firstborn. But you recount the story, and we call it a Haggadah, which is the basically the order service for the Seder. And you can, if you're very traditional, it can take you hours to go through it with your family, or you can kind of fast track it. But there are blessings over, you have several glasses of wine. So that's a fun holiday. And Passover is a festive holiday. The Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah are more serious holidays, like taking stock of your spiritual self, and your place in the world. But Passover is a celebration. You kind of lounge with cushions and stuff because it's symbolic of being free and not slaves anymore.
Which
And
you'll
basically,
see.
every generation of Jews since the Exodus are supposed to celebrate Passover as though they were slaves being free,
Yeah.
so that we don't forget that. And also remember that there are people who live in real slavery today. You have sex trafficking, child trafficking, all this. Slavery is not some ancient thing. People are oppressed all the time. So it's a bigger, broader thing, not just past tense, but for us to really engage in social justice, it's a good reminder of all those things. And, as long as none of us, or as long as all of us aren't free, None of us are truly free. I might need to change these batteries.
Is
They're
your
blinking
microphone
red light. No, it's still working, but it's blinking red.
Oh.
So we might have to take a little pause there, but
yeah, show them Dee Dee and Dinah lounging last night.
well, I'm gonna get batteries. I think we're low
during our Passover Seder.
Yeah. Hold on. Luckily, we have AAA batteries right in this drawer conveniently. So you're gonna lose our audio for a brief moment, and hopefully we don't have to reconnect everything else. Like a percentage, so you knew if it were low or not. Yeah, you have to put it in a certain way. And good luck. It's still on. You had it on the whole time.
Was it working?
Still on. What way did you put them in?
So do we have any other Jews that celebrate Passover?
You didn't pay attention to the way you took it out. You can't talk. They won't hear you.
On my microphone?
This is the transmitter.
We have seen numerous times. 1956.
There we go.
Oh, 1956 the movie came out. Just Google, 1956.
Are they hearing you? Let us know if you're hearing us, because we switched batteries. Uh-oh. Yes? This is weird. Coming from us. Hello? We might have to reconnect to this. Stand by.
Well, if you can hear us, you're at least enjoying some good tracks. Taking you back to early 2000s with some good Gwen Stefani here.
See, the way I know is when I tap the microphone and it shows up there.
Perfect. I think they can hear us.
Yeah.
Sharon says so.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Batteries are fresh, though. That's good.
So if he would have been on top of things, he would have just played the video down.
Each person in every generation must regard himself or herself as having been personally freed from evil.
And Didi could not wait for matzah.
Well, anything that's food,
Yeah.
right?
But yeah, so
Yeah.
do we have any other Jews out there that celebrated last night? We can
There
hear
have
you.
to Thank you, Sherry, for keeping us up to date. The audio is, when we connect everything ahead of time, which is what we usually do, it's all perfect. Having to change batteries midway obviously causes some issues. And the problem is, so when we hear our guest, we put in the AirPods just so that you all know what's going on. But then this will try to sometimes connect the audio through here as well, when it should just stay on this.
Yeah, as great as technology can be, it could also be very finicky and touchy and just not as functional as it should be.
No, the microphones work great. It's these that are the issue that screw things up,
Yeah.
because they're wireless
Right.
rather than being plugged in.
So, Adopt-A-Grandparent.
Adopt-A-Grandparent. Yes, we will. Hopefully, we can hear. We're gonna have to try putting these in. Ready? Do you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Good. Luckily that connected properly.
Perfect.
We'll give Robert a little earpiece. So yes, without further ado, Hillary Kline, who created the Adopt-A-Grandparent program. What else do you do? We just started following each other on social media. You got a lot of followers, so you're clearly doing something.
Well, I do a lot of things actually. So I work full
Jack of all
time in
trades.
public. Yeah, I work full time in public relations, and then I also do freelance makeup, specifically in the bridal industry. And then I'm a freelance writer. And then you may have seen me on a couple lifestyle TV shows throughout the Twin Cities and the Midwest. I give beauty tips and tricks and lifestyle tricks too. So I'm all over the place.
What got you into this Adopt-A-Grandparents program? You created this, or is this something that was
No,
already going and you got involved in?
yeah, so I actually saw this at the beginning of the pandemic. It originated in London. And so when I saw it, I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to bring this to a local level. And so in May, I started working on it. And then I wanted to launch it publicly, but the timing just didn't seem right. It was around the time all of the George Floyd stuff was happening. So I just worked silently on it. I recruited my family, my friends, and a few colleagues. And then right before Christmas, we were able to deliver over 790 cards to area nursing homes, assisted living facilities, memory care facilities in both Minnesota and Wisconsin, which is where I'm originally from.
Well, locally in Minnesota, Wisconsin, not this isn't some national thing.
No, I mean there's people who have started programs, in different states. But I've decided to bring it here to the metro area, and then when I go home to Wisconsin, that's when I, deliver cards there too. So I launched this publicly in January, and it's just taken off. So since then, we have delivered over 1,100 cards, which is pretty impressive. A little overwhelming too. I live at the post office now, which is totally fine. It's right down the street. But the amount of support and messages, and I mean, I have boxes of cards that I'm staring at right now, like beautiful handmade cards. I've got artwork. Like, it's just incredible to see everyone come together and support the program.
You mentioned post office, so these are physical cards and letters. Why a physical form of writing versus electronic, emails or messages on Facebook or something?
Right. I don't know about you, but I love to send snail mail. I love to, receive it too, send care packages. Anything in the mail that's not a bill is a-okay in my book. But I feel like in today's digital world, we've just kind of lost the love of a handwritten note. There's something so personal and so sentimental and unique about getting a handwritten note. And so I'm really hopeful that this program is just kind of sparking that interest in people's minds again of, hey, pick up your markers, your pen. Do we write in cursive anymore? Some people do. But just get creative with it. So anything, I get so many texts and calls and emails that it's just kind of a nice change of pace to get something in the mail, right?
Well, and no matter if you're somebody who's like 99% electronic in your world, when you do get a handwritten note or letter, even if it's not through the mail, but a coworker gives you a card that has like writing with ink that wasn't printed, you definitely value that more. Like that automatically is a whole different level of being more personal. Whereas 25 years ago, it wouldn't have been. So that's one thing about technology that's made that thing that people used to always do more valuable now.
Absolutely. I mean, I save all of my greeting cards that I get in the mail from my parents or Christmas cards. I just kind of stash them away. It's just a nice little sentiment to have, right?
That's something I was going to mention. The last time I had actually written a handwritten note was probably to you for Valentine's Day.
And you realize how bad your handwriting is when you go to write, when you have to write more than like a grocery list,
I have decent handwriting, so.
Mine's
I don't know how my
mine's
cursive
gotten
is
sloppy,
anymore, but.
So how can people get involved in this? Are you accepting more people all the time, or are you overwhelmed?
No, no. I mean, I'm overwhelmed in the best way possible, but I need help. I'm running low on cards. So here's how the program kind of works. You can use a blank card, you can write a letter, you can, paint, do artwork, whatever you want. Get the kiddos involved. I've got kids' artwork too, which specifically go to memory care facilities because they tend to want the artwork as opposed to a letter. So write a letter. It can be a generic greeting. I usually start my cards with "Hello, new friend," because I don't have the names of these people due to privacy issues. And then get creative in your card or your letter. Write about your family. Write about your job. Ask them about their interests, hobbies. And then if you want, you can leave your address in the card. If you want that pen pal like relationship, you may or may not get a response. But I got my first response over a month ago. Her name is Lorraine. She's 93. She's adorable. She just got her second COVID shot. And so I sent her a little gift card to Dairy Queen because I found out she loves dilly bars. So just
The season's
get
upon
creative with
us.
it. Yeah, get creative, have fun with it. And then when you're done with that, I mean, write as many as you'd like. When you're done with that, put it in a giant envelope and then mail it to me. Do you want my P.O. box right now or at the end?
You can write it in the comments now or
Yeah,
after,
write it in
or
the comments, and then we also have it on our premier-living.com page
okay.
in the magazine section, because you were this month's feature with your
Mhm.
adopted grandparent. So all the information is in there. So if anyone wants to nab that peel box and participate,
Yeah.
they can certainly do so.
Well, and like I was telling Robert earlier, this is kind of a cool thing because like neither of us have our grandparents any longer. And when my grandparents were living, they would send you, letters. Mine were well into their 90s at the time and would send handwritten letters with newspaper clippings of an article instead of forwarding, the link to an article. And I saved most of those, and those are so cool to look back upon now. But also, in your busy life, to get that handwritten letter from grandpa, and so it's kind of cool, maybe for people like us to go and connect with, an adopted grandparent again.
Absolutely.
That relationship goes both ways. They're not the only benefactor in this.
I do believe that. I mean, even if you don't hear back from somebody, the whole purpose and premise of this is to spread joy and to make somebody feel less alone. I mean, like you had mentioned earlier with the pandemic, a lot of us feel isolated and alone. And I just feel for our elderly community. I mean, how can you, interact with family, if at all, through a window or a tablet? It's not the same. So I'm really hopeful that bringing these cards to them. I personally go and deliver them to a lobby or a front desk since they're not allowing visitors. I'm really hopeful that receiving these cards just makes them feel a little less alone and gives them, a little bit of joy, even if it's just through a card. We're not changing the world here, but we can bring happiness one card at a time.
Grandkids. I mean, I don't know any older person who doesn't just love to hear from anybody and feel. I think there's people get to a certain age and I don't know I because I'm not old, but I think they tend to feel like by part of society neglected or no longer useful and kind of cast aside, and so to have any of that value. And there's you've seen other things like where there's like mentorship programs and stuff before COVID that a lot of young people have found that there's a lot of wisdom from these people too. Like it's not you go into it thinking you're just helping some old lady or old man, but they have life experience and can actually probably help you with some decisions or drama in your own life. They've been through it probably.
Absolutely. I think even or hopefully, after this whole pandemic situation is over, because right before the pandemic, one of the news cycles had a story of an older man who started writing children's books because he felt really lonely.
Mm-hmm.
So then that got me thinking, maybe we need to start some sort of like how we have a big brother, big sister program, but with this kind of adopted grandparent, and really spend time with our older generations who, like you said, just kind of get tossed aside and forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I mean, some of the messages that I've received when I first publicly launched it was, I lost my grandpa during COVID, or I don't have grandparents anymore, or, I lost my mom, 2 months ago. This is going to be a great kind of tribute to her. So, I mean, a lot of these messages move me to tears. I don't have grandparents. I had one grandma growing up. She passed away when I was in college, and we weren't really close. And so I'm kind of excited now that I have Lorraine, the cute 93-year-old, to kind of communicate with, and learn more about her and her life and her family, and make her feel less alone. But also, it's rewarding on my end too, because to your point, I'm getting that wisdom from her life experiences.
We tend to get caught up in our own drama and think, especially not so much us, but younger people in their teens or 20s think that relationship drama. And I think a 93-year-old Lorraine can probably be like, it's fine.
Girl,
I know it sounds cliche, but there are other fish in the sea much better.
Yeah, she's like, if you only knew my drama back in the day.
Yeah. Or I remember my grandma, we all thought it was a scandal that my grandma was engaged to another guy before our grandpa at one point. And,
Yeah.
she had a lot of relationship advice because she wasn't like most of her generation where she married the first guy that she saw in high school and that was the end of story. She made sure she found the right one and instilled that in us. So I'm still figuring out if Robert checks off all the boxes. But
Right. But no, we think this is a fantastic program, and we think
we're going to participate. We're going to do it.
Absolutely. We'll be
Perfect.
We'll be writing our first letters this week.
I'll practice my handwriting.
Are you going to create any artwork? Who's the artist out of the two of you?
More him. Yeah.
So,
I will enclose pictures of Dinah and Dee Dee, but everybody loves that. And when we can go and visit people again, like they're always a hit when you bring them anywhere and they're not an overpowering dog.
Yeah.
I mean, Dinah's pretty ominous looking. Oh, look at that yawn. Oh my gosh.
They're fantastic emotional support animals.
Yeah, totally. She is my little emotional.
Well, I love that. And you know what? Like I said, I live at the post office, so I'm going to be keeping an eye out for your letters, guys.
Yeah, hopefully our people watching, at least a few of them will get involved. I mean, it's an easy thing to do. I know it's not as easy as an email, but it's pretty easy to sit down. The pandemic's not over. We all have extra time on our hands at home still.
There's a lot of downtime still, absolutely, with things just slowly opening back up. So take the time, make somebody feel loved and
noticed. Yeah.
But again, we thank you for taking the time to be with us. We appreciate this awesome project that you've started because I think it means a lot to the community and to everyone that are receiving these letters.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks so much for having me. And if you have any other questions, feel free to slide into my DMs or find me on Instagram. My handle is @ClimbToTheTop. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have, but thank you so much for your support, everyone.
You can, after this, jump in the comments and answer anybody's questions or put the link to your P.O. box or whatever there too. We have it on the Premier Living website, but you can always jump in the comments right away too.
I will do that.
Cool.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Yeah, super cool program.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
And we are going to do it.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Because I think it was maybe.
Do you want a 93-year-old Lorraine or 87-year-old Chester?
Hey, I'd be happy with whichever, or from whomever we got a reply from.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was going to say, the last time I had a pen pal system was maybe in like the 5th grade. And they encouraged us to write a little letter to somewhere, I think even international. Yeah,
and that's before the internet too, and that was a cool thing then.
Yeah.
More so, it's funny now you could easily have a pen pal electronically with anybody in the world. I mean, that's kind of what happens with Instagram now. But when I was in 3rd grade, I remember, and I still think about this every so often. I don't know how I would connect with her, but I had a pen pal who was in Honduras, and it's a pretty troubled area too. So I wonder, I'm like, is she okay? Well, we're the same age, so she'd be 40-ish now as well. And you know, what tracks did our parallel lives take for a while?
Right. So Jan is asking for the PO box.
Yeah, so hopefully Hillary's in there typing away with people.
Hillary's in the comments.
Hillary Kline, right there.
We're browsing the internet this week, and we came across celebrity dog doppelgangers,
Yeah,
which we found
lookalikes, whatever.
pretty humorous.
Yeah, we have a few of them here. The first one is John Travolta's. That's kind of scary, you know.
I think it's probably the blue eyes.
I wonder if the dog would also say Dishin Maza. Remember?
Oh wait, how do you say that?
I don't remember how he said Idina Menzel's.
Well, yeah, Idina Menzel. I don't know.
Yeah.
We should have looked that clip of him saying
But that is kind of funny.
that. Was that the Oscars?
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
So yeah,
but like that dog has the blue eyes and everything. I mean, John Travolta does have pretty gorgeous blue eyes, so I mean, whatever. And you don't see a dog like that very often with eyes that
a pit bull with
pale blue.
Yeah.
And then we have one of William H. Macy. And it has two pictures of him just so you can really match up the dog right.
I think that dog actually looks a lot like him.
Yeah, some of these are kind of scary. Well, and then there's those pictures they'll have of people who like look like their dog over time too. Like not even celebrities. Like these aren't these people's dogs in this case, but a lot of people will start to look like their dogs. I don't know if Diner D is like that, but
definitely not. Definitely not. What do you think, Dana?
I mean, Dinah's a little more anxious like me, and you're a little more chill like Dee Dee.
I mean, she's giving a little Cindy Lauper.
They're about due for their spring haircuts. We don't usually groom them in the winter because these little dogs are so low to the ground they just get so gross. But
her and Cindy are about the same age.
Yeah, in dog years. No, actually, Dinah's older.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And our favorite is this one right here.
Oh yeah, she's not really a celebrity, but everybody knows this girl.
Yeah.
The mean girl.
A little side eye. I mean, it's
those teeth. Yeah, Chloe. Side-eyeing Chloe. Oh, that's her name is Chloe. I didn't know she had a name. So yeah, those are kind of fun. But there was a whole list of them. How many were there? Like, those are just a few of the ones.
Probably, I think like
few of the best.
15. But yeah, she's definitely my favorite. My aunt's dog looks like side-eyeing Chloe. So we're gonna hit our first 70 this week.
Yes, our first 70 tomorrow. It looks like it's gonna be very close. Yeah. Let me see if I have. Let me see if I can put this in here. Well, I'll just do this. Yeah. So I talked about this in my weather today. If you saw that as well. But like it's going to be a roller coaster week. So our first 70 tomorrow, warm and windy. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, but Makaska lost its ice overnight.
I saw that.
So I ran around that, and that's 2 weeks earlier than normal. Not surprising. It's been a very warm March. But then Wednesday's going to be cold. We're going to struggle to hit 40.
Cool.
But then next weekend, it's going to be warm again. It looks like, I mean, I'm hoping for the American models, right, even though it's less accurate far out. But it has a string of 70s starting this weekend. Because I had a lot of people ask, of course, it's Passover now, but for a lot of people, it's Easter next weekend, and people want to get together with family. And a few people have actually messaged me and said, what are the chances we're going to have a nice, warm Easter, and we can be outside, socially distanced? And normally in Minnesota, when Easter is this early, dream on.
Yeah.
But this year, it actually may be 70 degrees and gorgeous.
If that happens, it's brought to you by this.
Yeah, you can, send me more stars. You can have an outdoor picnic, which is kind of cool.
No, absolutely.
You know, we've had a couple Aprils where we had blizzards and it was cold, so I think we're due for a warm April. Spring is the most important time to me. That's like actually nice, because winter is winter, but like don't prolong it.
Yeah, but In true Minnesota fashion, I wouldn't be surprised if
Don't
a
say
good
that.
snowstorm hits in the middle of April.
Don't say that. I wanted to show. I don't have a picture of the cherry blossoms, but I had posted this too. So they've declared full flowering of the cherry blossoms in Japan, Kyoto, and they have over 1,200 years of records that they've kept every year, and this is the earliest ever.
Yeah.
So that's another climate change thing. And Washington D.C. is supposed to peak sometime this week too. So, and that's controlled by the National Park Service, and you can go, but they're reminding people to stay distance and wear a mask if you can, even outside. But that's something I kind of half jokingly said, do you want to go drive to DC? Because a last minute flight would be expensive, but
I really want.
it'd be cool to see at some point.
I really want to see the blossoms in Japan.
Yeah.
Because
Well, that would
the
be
photos that you see in Japan are
that would be even better.
absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah. I wish I had grabbed a picture of that. You know what I could do though? We can pull up some pictures.
Gotta shake the box so it doesn't like leak on the counter and stain your brand.
Yeah, for sure. But it's hard to get away right now because we're pretty busy with real estate, right?
Spring market's hot.
Hot. I'm looking up because I did post this video. This is what I wanted to show. So I'm gonna do this for a moment. You can watch. Look at this is video. Look at that of deer underneath.
Insane.
I thought this was fake at first, but I retweeted this and somebody said, oh, I'm surprised to see the deer so laid back. So somebody who's familiar with the area, evidently the deer are like constantly in your face begging for treats.
Oh.
But like, look how beautiful that is.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
So yeah, I think
Japan?
that's Kyoto, Japan.
So that's
Blossom
why-
trees, Nara, Japan.
That's
Blossom
why-
trees and fawn.
That's why I want to go to Japan for the cherry blossoms.
Like that's like looks like something out of a Disney movie, like fake.
Where's Snow White?
The deer naturally just there all the time, or what?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, let's look at it again. I can't get enough of this. I mean, it's like pink snow, and they're just like hanging out. It's like it's a theme park or something. So yeah, and if we go, we'll take you all along and maybe do Dishin in the Kitchen live from Nara, Japan during the cherry blossom. Next year.
Imagine that.
Next year. Maybe.
Blessing of
Right?
technology. It's a blessing and a curse.
That's one of the things we always say with Passover in the Jewish tradition is we always say next year in Jerusalem. Pertinent than during COVID to be able to say next year somewhere, anywhere.
Right.
You know, and we're, as those of you who followed us a while, we're in Israel usually once a year. And so we're itching to get there. I don't know, maybe this fall, maybe next year. Because we normally go in June. Tel Aviv Pride is huge, but
So much fun.
most big Pride events are not happening yet. Because even if you could pull it off, you have to plan months in advance. And how do you plan when you don't know fully how things will be? So it's probably best to stick to our local prides, which might last minute be able to happen, hopefully.
Well, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how restricted everything is.
Michael Brennan asked if we had a Seder last night. Yes, we did, Michael.
You missed our little video.
Michael's not Jewish, but he's from New York, so he's very familiar with Jewish traditions. And actually, I don't know if he's still there. I know he was there visiting his mother. Maybe he's still there. I don't know.
Some people are hearing that to be a hot, dry summer. Can you predict that far out?
You know, I keep threatening to do a long-term forecast because people always want to know.
Like a fireman's almanac?
It's hard. Well, no, that's voodoo. But usually doing forecasts past the month are treacherous. But there's a lot of strong signals in our atmosphere and models. Plus the background of all of it is climate change. But it does look like a warm spring and summer. So I might still do that official forecast.
Well, didn't you say?
And I might have to teach a class on climate change because I've had so many people when they found out that I'm teaching middle schoolers climate change course that the adults want to learn. So stay tuned for that. I might have to do that.
A little master class?
Yeah. Probably not for free because gotta pay the bills. It would be cheap.
Yeah, of
Anyway,
course,
but
of course. But no, you actually had a lot of people ask about that.
a lot of adults. Yeah. It was like the Highlishire Day School that I teach at had posted some pictures. They'd come into class one day and took pictures and posted on their Facebook page. And all these adults were commenting, well, how can we do that? How can we get that class? And the adults might pay more attention than the kids.
I would hope
Although
so.
the kids were pretty engaged, which is good because, you have to remind them, this is the thing that you guys really are going to have to deal with.
Right.
You're the future.
Right.
And it's their generation, ours as well, but theirs especially that are really going to have to, there's no more dinking around. Like, we really got to do some bold things. But it's possible to prevent some of the catastrophic scenarios.
We sure hope so for all of mankind, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not just for nature. It's not just about cute animals. Us too.
Yeah.
We won't be around without a functioning, natural, and wild world.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, tomorrow. Speaking of the first 70, I think tomorrow we're going to take the Jeep for a first topless ride.
Oh, we are.
Mm-hmm. I already decided.
Who wants to see us topless?
I've started cleaning the Jeep out so that things don't fly when we drive.
Well, I think it's time for you to put on those seat covers that you bought a year ago.
Oh,
so we can
more
get
than
them out.
more than a year ago.
So we can get them out of laundry room.
Okay, good idea.
Yeah. But I think it's dinner time. I'm excited for some good Passover leftovers.
We've got a whole box of matzah.
Whole box of matzah.
We did have some good.
Gouda with
We had some good beef brisket from Whole Foods.
Yes,
we don't eat a lot of red meat because it's
we don't eat
not good for the environment either. But special occasions, a holiday is a good reason to.
I mentioned every time on Dishin in the Kitchen, I'm a flexitarian, and especially for a holiday like yesterday, we had the brisket from Whole Foods. It was really tasty.
It was very good.
Very tasty. And
I was kind of surprised.
Yeah. No, I actually was very surprised too, because a lot of their food can be hit and miss, but.
Well, anything that's sort of mass produced.
Yeah.
Not really mass produced, but like we've mentioned a few times that we really like Lunds and Byerly's herb roasted turkey and stuffing. Can't have that during Passover though.
No. Instead, it's matzah and Gouda
and those jelly ring things. Where did you put those? You bought those thinking they'd be good, and they're chocolate covered.
Chocolate covered, actual like.
Basically, desserts are out for Passover because usually contains flour or something.
Yeah, the gelatin just fruit rings. They were chocolate covered, and I thought they were going to be more like a raspberry, a raspberry, like an actual, expensive chocolate with like a raspberry filled center versus just a gelatin.
I don't know. They were exactly what I expected, but it's still better. It's still better than what Moses had.
Flattened.
That's why we eat the flattened bread. They didn't have time to bake any bread or for it to rise.
No, but hey, thanks for joining us, you guys. It's always nice to see all of you.
Adopt-A-Grandparent.
Yes, Adopt-A-Grandparent. Hopefully, she gets a new box of letters coming her way.
Yeah, and enjoy the 70-degree day tomorrow. And then the next time you see us again, it'll be warm again, but it'll be cold.
But you did mention that the 14-day might have some 80s in there.
Yeah, a couple of the models do have us very close to maybe our first 80, which that normally happens usually around Cinco de Mayo is the average first 80. So that would be a month early if that happened.
Right.
But it's been a warm spring.
So we'll see.
Lake ice outs early. I think the big lakes like Minnetonka and White Bear Lake will probably go out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be like all the ingredients for ice that's already treacherous. I'm sure those lakes look like B'nai Makaska looked like last week, which is very dark and already fractured. And then you get the winds tomorrow are going to be 20 to 40 miles an hour.
I'll be saying the one element I do not enjoy is the wind.
Yeah, but it's 70 degrees. What do you need?
This hair does not look
no
good.
Jeep ride for you. It's just me and the girls tomorrow.
Well, for that
Dinah will have her sunglasses and scarf on around her neck.
Yeah. hey, enjoy the week ahead. Make it a fantastic week. Again, we thank you for joining us for Dishin in the Kitchen and Adopt-A-Grandparent. We'll be doing so. We'll keep you posted.
As to our
with
progress.
Hopefully we get a response.
Yeah.
A new pen pal. All right, you guys.